Yo, how's everybody doing out there, man? Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, man. How's everybody doing out there, man? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Yes, sir. Man, it's another beautiful day, man. How y'all been? How's y'all Monday and Tuesday been, man? I hope y'all doing all right out there, man. Welcome in. Oh, man, we got, what a wild second round, huh? We got a lot to talk about. What a wild second round it's been already, man. I told y'all this year is crazy. I told y'all, man, this year is crazy. I get to come in here and pop my shit. Alright, let's start this, man. Welcome into another episode of the Jayson Estrera podcast, where we talk about basketball as accurate as possible. Like I just said, the second round of the playoffs has been just as crazy, if not crazier, than the first round of the playoffs. What is going on right now, man? I got a homeboy who a Cleveland fan. I bet you somebody's seen him on his knees in a Walmart parking lot, huh? I'd be sick. Oh my God. The way they're going. Listen, you know it's funny, and we'll get into their series in a second. But remember when we were talking about at the beginning of the year, I was like, at some point they're gonna lose some steam. Like, you can't. It's so hard to keep that pace going, and then especially when you get into the playoffs, and they're literally dropping like flies over there. So 3 guys were out. Oh my goodness, what an insane way. What an insane way. And then when you're looking at the Pacers, like, bro, they just keep getting through. We were injured last year. Who did they play in the first round? The Bucks were injured last year. They played the Bucks. The Bucks were injured again this year. Now Cleveland is injured. Everybody keeps talking about the Boston Celtics having the path that they had. Let's talk about the Indiana Pacers, because wow, they're getting lucky, but you still got to win the games. But we've been going in order. With these games, so I get to get on here and pop my shit. I get to come in here and pop my shit. Y'all have been trolling me all season long. Y'all have been trolling me. The group chat were violating him. Nah, the Bucks just suck. I'm dead. Nah, I mean, but like Damian Lillard that had a blood clot, they sent him out there and then tore his Achilles. I mean, what you gonna do about that? But it's not about any of them. It's not about none of them. Right? It's not about none of them at all. Because it's Bing Bong, King Kong, cue a New York theme song, Knicks in 7. Because my New York Knicks did that shit. Now, I'm not saying we're about to go in. Like, there's some guys saying Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6. I think that's insane, but we gotta start. We gotta start. I mean, it's my shit, so I can start wherever the fuck I want to start. But we gonna start right here, because this is how they started Monday night. My New York Knicks, my beloved New York Knicks, 108-105, beat the Boston Celtics at home. And the story of the game is the fact that the Boston Celtics missed 45 3-point shots, which is a record. They took 60 3-point shots, which is a record. In the third quarter, they took 20 field goal attempts where 19 of them were 3-point shots. And so that was the story of the game. And that's a part of the story, right? The other part is they missed shots. We hit every big one. Mr. Big Body El Capitan Jalen Brunson again. 3 threes in the fourth quarter, and he hit another massive one at the very end of the third quarter also. He had 20 points? Him and OG Anunoby, 20 points in the second half and overtime of this game. You know, people were talking about whether or not OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges can keep up with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? That was a big topic, and you know, when we got Mikal Bridges, that was a part of the selling point, that we have 2 wing defenders that can challenge Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And granted, Mikal Bridges did not have a great scoring game. He played 51 fucking minutes. I mean, holy shit, played 51 minutes. So he didn't have a great scoring game, but had some massive stops. Had some massive stops down the stretch. Hit a big 3 in overtime. And then OG Anunoby, who was incredible on defense, also put 29 points in and was 6 of 11 from 3. So that's the other part in it. We were hitting all of the big shots and they were missing all of theirs. Yeah, announcer hit an OG Oh My yet? Nah, I've been watching it on the TNT broadcast, so I don't know actually. But I haven't heard it recently. I haven't heard it recently if they have done it. I mean, we were talking about OG, right? When OG Anunoby plays well, the Knicks win a lot of those games because you know what you're gonna get out of Jalen Brunson, right? You could book him for his 29 plus. I mean, the guy's literally 30 when he walks into arenas in the playoffs. And then Karl Anthony Towns only had 14, but that was really because of the foul trouble. And another thing too, right? Did y'all see how they tried to hoe us? You guys seen that? Did you guys see? You guys saw that Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson had 3 fouls in the first half. Both of them had 3 fouls in the first half. Like that ain't right. Like that ain't right. If that's not like, I get it, you know, Drew got 3 fouls in the first half as well too, but Jaylen Brown got 2, but 3 fouls with like 8 minutes left is crazy. It's crazy. And I get that Karl Anthony Towns got to chill out. He puts himself in a lot of really questionable spots on defense. But 3 fouls is crazy. 3 fouls on both star players is crazy. And still, we stood 10 toes. 10 toes. And, you know, what we have to do moving forward is hold the fucking line. We have to hold the line in the sense of the Celtics are going to come out firing. The Celtics are going to come out firing. And despite the conversation about how many threes that they took, I think they're gonna take less, but for them, less is like 53-point attempts. They might take 10 less than the 60 that they took, but I'm expecting them to shoot a lot better. And the New York Knicks have to, one, expect that, but two, really withstand it the way that we did in the first half when they threw everything at us. Tatum was on fire to start the game. Both of our guys were in foul trouble, and we got some big minutes. We got some big minutes out of Deuce and some big minutes out of Mitchell Robinson. And we even saw some Precious Achiuwa out there, which you don't normally see, but we really stood there. The refs kept some teams in the playoffs. Coughed the Warriors. You know what's crazy? I have the short up, right? Because I was saying how Steve Kerr he needed to say something to the referees the way they were holding Steph Curry that series. And everyone is saying that they were letting the Rockets get away with murder. I pinned my comment on there because I was like, well, do you guys think that the Draymond Green technicals and flagrants balanced out the physical play that the Rockets had? So I don't know how people really felt about that. Oh, and by the way, too, let me see if I can find this. It was a super AO. Where is this? Where is this, bro? Where is this? This was the most insane thing I've seen. Where is this comment, bro? Bro. Do you see this comment right here? Which, by the way, it's starting to do this was starting to do well. Do you read this? Treating dudes like cones. They just flesh made cones. A flesh made cone is insane, my boy. A flesh made cone, bro. I was like, what the fuck? No, we need to check on bro because I don't know what he talking about over here. A flesh made cone is insane. Draymond should have been ejected and suspended. The Rockets played real defense and NBA fans got shocked. Freddie had them boys right. Not Jalen Green, but Freddie had them boys right. I will, and that's the back and forth that I was having with some of the people who were commenting on that, on that short, because imagine getting baked on live. I'm weak. Oh my God. Imagine that. So, when it comes to the defense on the Rockets, that the Rockets had on Steph, and we'll talk about the Warriors in just a second, right? To your point, Elijah, I do think that some of that is a part of regular defense, especially when it comes to star players. Being physical is number one on the list. And then you have all of the schemes. Where are you going to send him? How are you going to play pick and rolls? When are you going to double? Like, all of those things come after being physical with the star player. And that's why I was saying that Steve Kerr should have said something, because we all understand that that's a part of the game. But some of those are in a gray area. The Rockets were towing the line, and I think they were towing the line on purpose, right? You have to see what you're allowed to get away with. And it was on Steve Kerr to draw the line early in that series. I don't think it would have gone to 7. if he would have said something much earlier on in the series, because Steph Curry, and a lot of star players do, but especially Steph Curry, he only needs a little bit of space. He ended up settling for a lot of long threes that would have gone in had he gotten easier buckets before that. So, their defense was definitely in a gray area, but I think it was fair because, Steve Kerr didn't say nothing about it to try to protect his player until like game 5. So, that's not on the Rockets. They were letting them get away with it. They were letting them get away with it. And that brings me back to the New York Knicks, because we talk a lot about the defense that you play on the Boston Celtics. I think you have to kind of play a balance of physicality with them. There's a great quote from Drew Hanlon. To Drew Hanlon, who's the trainer for Jayson Tatum, right? And he had like a meeting with Joe Mazzulla when Joe Mazzulla became the head coach, and he was like, "Tell me something about Jayson Tatum, right? Just tell me something about him." And Drew Hanlon goes, "It's going to go against your statistics and analytics, but you have to give Jayson Tatum paint touches, post-ups where he gets to be physical and where the players are being physical at him, and there's that battle, because it gets him juiced up, it gets him hyped up, it gets him into the game in ways that the three-point shot can't do." It has everything to do with the rhythm, the feel of the game, the intensity of the game, all of those other things. And I think the Boston Celtics as a team kind of operate the same way. It's almost as if sometimes if the more physical you are with them, the more inclined they are to go towards the basket. And right now, we don't need these guys going to the basket, right? We need them to keep settling for threes. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year. You remember that? We talked about this all the way at the beginning of the year. I think the number is one thing, because that's a variable that changes, right? If you have a good half, you're going to keep shooting threes. Sometimes guys are going to try to shoot out of slump, so they might take a little bit more in a quarter. So that number, even though 60 is a lot, that number varies. The thing that's consistently really bad with the Boston Celtics is the type of threes that they take. It's a lot of bad threes, kickouts. They'll take 3 threes in one possession and then do it again the next possession. It's we've talked about how it takes away from how good of basketball players these guys are. Right? It takes away from all of the other things that these guys do well to just stand around and shoot a bunch of threes, and it takes us off the hook if you're the Knicks. So a part of the defense, you almost have to just shade these guys, right? Because if you give them a little bit of room, they're gonna shoot step back threes all game long. They're going to shoot step back threes all game long. And they're going to have a game where they shoot lights out. They're going to have a game or two where they shoot really bad. And then you'll have like an average game, the rest of the time. So if you can have them settling for these shots, Jaylen Brown is not getting to the rim, not getting to the free throw line. Tatum isn't getting to the rim, not getting to the free throw line. All of those things go in the favor of the New York Knicks. I will say, though, I think game 2 is going to be big. A 7-game series is a race to who's going to win 4 games first. And I'm not saying this is a must-win game. Brian Windhorst was saying that this is a must-win game, game 2 is. And I don't agree with that because you're just kind of saying that we suck. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not just going to take that. So, no, I don't think it's a must-win game. I think it'll go a long way if we're able to win this, kind of like how we've seen with that Cleveland series, right? That Cleveland series going into Indiana 1-1 is very different from going into Indiana 2-0 or 0-2 in Cleveland's case. So that's, I would love to go to New York up 2-0. I would love to go back into the Garden up 2-0. And I think we've shown that if it's a close game, Jalen Brunson is a problem. And that shows in the way the other team plays. Right? Tied games down the stretch, guys tighten up. They tighten up more so because they see Jalen Brunson's fucking face on the other team. And knowing he's going to have the ball coming down, regardless of what you do, he's going to get a good shot. That makes guys tight. That makes games more tense. And I get that the Boston Celtics are experienced, that they've done a lot. But you can't keep missing shots and see Jalen Brunson walking the ball down. That's not a sight that you want to see in the playoffs. Game 2 is a must-win, absolutely, for the Knicks. However, every playoff game for every team is a must-win, absolutely. Like I said, I don't think it's a must-win because that implies that the Knicks are fucking ass. And, I think if we could get to 2-0 and split at home, I mean, I would love to get both at home. I'm just not expecting to sweep a team like the Boston Celtics, right? That's just not what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the series to be tough. And so you have to kind of pace yourself through these games and through the whole series. And I would love to, like I said, I would love to win game 2. I think there's a good chance that we can. We have to take the punch that the Celtics have. But yeah, I'll give my pick later. But you know how everybody talks about playoff Jimmy? Everybody talks about playoff Jimmy this, playoff Jimmy that. Jalen Brunson, up until this point of the playoffs, last year and this year, has been the MVP of the playoffs. This guy is an unreal playoff performer. The way the game looks when he has the basketball throughout the game, when he's on a heater, and especially the way we've seen it at the end of games, it looks insane. Like, it looks absolutely insane. Asar Thompson on the Pistons, who comes off as an extremely confident person, it almost looked like Jalen Brunson was walking him and the Detroit Pistons down and taking a piece of his heart every single time down. That's how it looked. He literally walks teams down at 6'2" and gets a bucket. And I think that's the other part in the late game execution, right? And we'll talk about this with Donovan Mitchell too. When you play and games are really tight, right? When someone walks the ball down the way that Jalen Brunson does, and scores every time has a real serious effect on the other team. On one hand, it eats the shot clock. But on two, it's really demoralizing. It really could take the life out of the other team to see a guy walk you guys down, bop, 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 do his thing, get a shot off, and get a bucket 2, 3, 4 possessions in a row. And that is the effect that Jalen Brunson is having on these teams at the end of games. He got the Clutch Player of the Year award and then hit a bunch of clutch shots. You know, when they talk about aura, he as of right now has that glow about him at the end of games. And I think it forces guys to tighten up. But like I said, you know, we talk about playoff Jimmy. We talk about all of these guys. Playoff Brunson is a real thing. I mean, this guy is 30 when he walks in the building. Nothing anybody could do. Everyone that guards him is 4 or 5 inches taller than him, and there's nothing anyone could do about it. When it comes to a little guard, I mean, like, the last time we saw anything like this, like in the playoffs, was like Steph, you know, Lillard when he's hitting game winners and he's just giving everybody 30 plus 40s. Like, this looks insane at his height, at his size, to do what he's doing right now. But we'll do our pick for game 2 later. We'll do our picks for the games later. So shout out to my New York Knicks. Next. Where is this? Oh, here it is. Whoa. Let's take a look at this, y'all.
Second one for Holmgren. It rims out. Brown grabs it. 7 seconds left. Westbrook, 5 seconds. They're down by 1. Gordon got it. Aaron Gordon with a deep shot. Williams, 3-quarter court. No good. The Nuggets.
Aaron Gordon for the win. Kyle Lowry and Fred before LeBron. I'm dead. Nah, you're not about to start hitting me with the LeBron slander, LeBron fan. The Denver Nuggets, they stole the game, 121 to 119, and they were. It felt like they were cruising for most of this game. And by the time the Denver Nuggets had turned it on, it felt as if the Oklahoma City Thunder just could not respond to it. And I don't know if that's, excuse me, you know, everyone's talking about the rust, right? Because these teams, the higher seeded teams have won earlier, so they weren't playing as many games. The Nuggets were in a 7-game series. The Warriors were in a 7-game series. So these guys are fresh from high intense games. And is that going in their favor? But really, the conversation about this game is the timeouts, or are the timeouts. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Oklahoma City Thunder, let me take a look at the play-by-play here too. Let me see, fourth. Let me see. The timeouts and the foul. They started fouling extremely early. free throw for Shea. 14 seconds left. Caruso fouled. Jokic hit the free throws. Jokic hit the free throws. Caruso fouls again. Aaron Gordon, 1 of 2. No, Aaron Gordon hit both. Fouled on Westbrook, and then Holmgren missed the free throws. So, you know, there is this theory where because they were up 3, they didn't want to give up 3-point shots. So the Oklahoma City Thunder elected to start playing the foul and free throw game. And something that was on their side, which was time, ended up working against them, because instead of eating up the shot clock in the time, they gave the Denver Nuggets extra time. And then on top of that, by fouling, where was the sequence? When Jokic got subbed out, right? And then Caruso fouled Gordon. They were able to put Jokic back in the game, which was really, really massive, because they could have tried to play it out without him if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that went against them. Boo Wolves. Hello, Mr. Bruce. How are you doing? Boo Wolves. Knicks winning tonight. I'm going to do my pick in a little bit. I'm going to do my pick when we're going over the schedule for the next 2 days. But we're going over the Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder right now, because I genuinely don't agree with the free throw game that they started playing. Because what they don't talk about is, okay, the other team goes to the free throw line. They take their 2 free throws. 80% of the time, they make both free throws, and now it's a 1-point game, and then they're going to foul you. Instead of forcing the other team to make a tough 3 under pressure, by playing this game, you've now shifted the pressure to you, the team that has the lead. Because honestly, anyone outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that situation for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'd be a little worried if they're going to hit their free throws. So that's exactly what we saw out of Chet Holmgren, who's extremely young, and we've seen this before with young players. That pressure on the free throw line it hits a little different, and we saw it on the biggest stage. And then Aaron Gordon, who just hit a game winner the other week, hits another one, and that really felt like coaching. That felt like coaching to me. Nuggets winning again tonight. OKC coach seems to overcoach. I seen him do some things that had me rubbing my head this year. And, you know, that's what winning does. Right? Winning can get people to kind of gloss over certain things like that. But this is exactly why the playoffs are dangerous. This is exactly why the playoffs are dangerous. And when you're going 7 games against a Jokic, all that defense, like, you know, they got the number 1 defense. They got this, they got that. He had 40 and 20. 40 and 20 Jokic had. Sometimes there is no defense for players like him. All that team defense shit gets thrown out the window when both guys are way too small for him. Now, the other part in it too, and Shai still had his 33, 12 of 26 from the field, right? It's not unbelievable. He had his 10 rebounds, his 8 assists. He's starting too late. He is starting way too late. He needs to, one of two things, right? You could either start the game off as a star scorer like him and try to facilitate the ball. Michael Jordan explained this, and Kobe had talked about, trying to get everybody else involved in the first quarter. And then you could kind of start shooting towards the end of the quarter, especially if you're a player that plays most of it, right? I think he has to start off shooting. I think he needs to start off getting to the rim, trying to get to the free throw line, and really establish himself in the game. That's what I think he should do. And then I think everyone else can feed off of that. It'll open up 3-point shots if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, I mean, how many shot attempts did Jokic have in the first quarter? He had 5 to Shea's 8. So Shea was shooting. He was getting them shots up. So he needs to do more of the same. But I think he needs to do what Donovan Mitchell did. He needs to do what Donovan Mitchell did and say, if you guys don't switch the way you guys are guarding me, I'm going to just get 50. I think that's the type of game he needs to have, because I think he needs to send a message to the Denver Nuggets and to the NBA, because the first round series, they didn't really need him to be Shea. They didn't need him to be MVP Shea. And I think it went a long way in trying to build the confidence for the rest of his guys. But now he needs to start taking over. Now he needs to be MVP Shea. He needs to start looking for his shots a lot, get to the free throw line, and really punish the Denver Nuggets and really force them to overextend. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is absolutely no Russell Westbrook slander on this channel at all whatsoever. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. This guy has been so good for them all year. This guy's been so good for them all year. Everybody wanted to point out the missed free throws or the missed layups that he's had for the games. Nobody ever wants to talk about his big shots at the fourth quarter. Nobody wants to talk about the big games he's had all year long. So Russ is the man. Russ is the fucking man. And we'll talk about game 2 when we're picking our games later. Which brings me to another game winner. I mean, we're just getting blessed with game winners right now. This is insane. This might be the craziest one, though. Like, this might actually be the craziest one.
If you're the cat, your guys have got to do a much better job of getting open.
Misses Haliburton the rebound. 9 seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Ooh. Haliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Haliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart. And it is over.
Ooh, we've talked about the reputation that Tyrese Haliburton has built as a trash talker. He gets under people's skin. I think that's why he ended up on the overrated list. But now he is building the case to be under another category, and that is a super clutch player, because the amount of game winners that he's hit in the last 2 months alone has been unreal. This guy has been straight ice in his veins. Unreal what he's been doing. Russell Westbrook have the keys in my eyes. That's how much I trust Russ. Facts. Me too. Me too. Anytime of the day. So Tyrese is again building that case as really one of those players, right? Really one of those type of guys in these clutch situations. And the Pacers stole one. They like, there is nothing else to it. They stole one. These guys couldn't hit a bucket in the fourth quarter. They got outscored 36-21 and you know, a big shot there to win the game. I will say I gotta give Donovan Mitchell some credit, because what we just spoke about when it came to Shea coming out and being super aggressive and setting the tone early, to any time a player has to do that, watch the first quarter of this Cleveland Cavaliers Indiana Pacers game. If Donovan Mitchell's body language doesn't scream as someone that knows and understands 3 of his guys are out of the game, 2 starters are out, and that he knows the game he's gonna have to win this game, which, by the way, I called this. I said if those guys are out, Donovan Mitchell is going to have 40-something in a loss. You could check back on Monday. I said it on Monday. And that is exactly what he did. He was walking the Indiana Pacers down. We talked about Jalen Brunson walking teams down. He was literally walking these guys down and getting buckets after buckets, possession after possession. And you could see by the end of the first quarter, the Indiana Pacers looked a little defeated. That's why I got to give them a lot of credit to come back in this game, because they looked deflated at the end of that first quarter, because it was a masterclass. It was an absolute masterclass that Donovan Mitchell had in the first quarter. Let me see. He was 4 of 10 from the field, 4 of 5 from the free throw line for 12 points. It was just the way he slowed the pace down. And then this was the masterful part, right? At the very end of the first quarter, after he had isolated essentially and taken the ball to the rim like 4 possessions in a row, what did he do? Kick out to an assist, kick out to a hockey assist to end the quarter. So it was 32-15. So, you know, the guy was unreal. The guy was literally, he was unreal. I don't know how gassed he really was at the end of this game, because he hasn't had to play like this all year. But he literally put these guys on his back and, you know, had Tyrese Haliburton snatch that shit right out of his heart. The same thing happened last year. If y'all remember, last year, was it against Orlando? Let me see. Was it against Boston? Let me see. He had a big 50. He had like a 40-plus 50-point game in the playoffs last year. And I'm pretty sure they lost that shit. And you could tell that he looked, the following game, you could tell he was out of it. Because and one, I think he even got hurt. It was, let me see. Let me actually see. Let's see this right now. Cavaliers or Magic 2024 series. Let's see. I remember he had a massive game. It was a massive game. Spider may be doomed. Oh shit, why you think that? Yeah, he had 50 and they lost in game 6. 103-96. My boy had 50. My boy had 50 and they lost. And then game 7, they got blessed. They got blessed with the young Orlando Magic. They won 106-94 against the Magic. But you know, you could just tell he looked super deflated after that shit. He looked super deflated. He felt like he had to do everything. He had to have 39 the next game. I think it's starting to feel like the whole season he's been able to take the foot off the gas and let everybody do their thing. And now the playoffs come around and he's looking around like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because there's nobody to be found. And he's probably like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? Spider may be doomed to always be on a one-man army. This seems really familiar. I'm getting deja vu like he did this on a previous team. He did this just last year. That's what I'm talking about. He did this just last year. That's why I am not surprised. What did we say earlier this year? Elijah, you got to tell the rest of these people here. What did I say? There's a good chance neither one of these number one seeds make it to the conference finals. We said this already. Darius Garland is unreliable so far in the playoffs. Evan Mobley, I think, is too young. And then when you get past those two, who did the Cleveland Cavaliers have? Donovan Mitchell needs to score 50. When you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, everyone is extremely young. Everyone is extremely young. And outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Who are we going to expect to step up and really pick up some of those times when Shai is either resting or he's not having one of those games? Because outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that game one against the Nuggets, only Alex Caruso had 20. Alex Caruso. So these are, this is the team that the Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder have. It's just a bunch of really young guys that when it comes to these playoff moments, some of them shrink. Some of them guys shrink. You guys, he said that the Knickerbockers are going to lay an egg and they would be embarrassed before the year is over. Whoa. I never said embarrassed. That's crazy. Embarrassed is crazy. Embarrassed is crazy. That's wild. Yo, it really be your own, bro. It really be your own. I need that other short. I need that it be your own short to blow up so everyone can see how y'all treat me in here. Everyone needs to see how y'all treat me. All I do is gas up y'all favorite teams and players and y'all just shit on mine. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. All right, let's move right along. Man. Let's move right along because there was another game on, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Golden State Warriors. I got the floor and got excited. You stepped up. You stepped right up. Well, I can tell you who didn't get excited, which was the fucking Minnesota Timberwolves, because Anthony Edwards talked all that shit. My guy talked all that shit. And they had 88 fucking points in the first game. Yo, I was talking to a friend of mine because he was like, well, the Wolves win this series, right? And I was like, I don't know about that because the Warriors are much better defensively than the Lakers were. And, I think that the Timberwolves are better offensively than the Rockets. I just think, they have, some more weapons, and their star player or their star offensive player isn't going to shy away from shots the way that Jalen Green did. And so I think this series is going to be close, but 88 points is just, that's really, really low. That's really, really low. I take a lot of joy in trying something crazy, waiting and anticipating your reaction. I know y'all do. That's what I'm saying. You guys come in here just to shit on me, and it's fine. It's fine. How many more times do I have to say it's fine for it to sound like it's real? I'm not hurt at all. So anyway, the Minnesota Timberwolves, talking about laying an egg, they laid an absolute egg. And you would think that they would have gotten excited after Steph Curry got injured. Apparently he has a hamstring injury, which is really bad news, because that's one of those injuries where you have to sit down and rest. They're having games every other night. So I don't know how they're going to manage this. He might be walking funny out there. He might be out there looking like Bambi if they throw him out there. So I don't know what they're going to do. They have to shoot some shit in his ass. I don't know. But that's not a great sign. But even still, the Golden State Warriors won this game. And this is what I was worried about if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they're not going to defend him the way the Lakers did. There were games where this guy was literally walking to the rim, like literally walking to the rim. So it's a little bit different. Even if you have Steph Curry on you, as we've seen, that's not just an easy bucket, an easy matchup, right? That rumbling is still very quiet, but Steph Curry is far from a bad defender. So when you look at their lineup 1 through 5, even someone like Brandon Podziemski, who's also very small, he's a gritty, scrappy, almost like a TJ McConnell, Peyton Pritchard kind of player. He just looks for his shot a little bit more. I think his offensive game is just a little bit smoother, but there is no easy one-on-one matchup necessarily for the Golden State Warriors. And I think that's the problem that Anthony Edwards is going to run into, right? There isn't going to be that many favorable matchups, so he's going to have to really get good shots and figure a way to get good shots. The Warriors about to have a ton of druggies because Jimmy is already on that stuff. I don't know what's about to happen with them. They said they're gonna win, so I'm sure they're gonna do everything that they can to keep everyone in games. I think the real question is this, right? This is the biggest thing, especially if you have a Steph Curry that is, not all the way there. There's times in a player's career where there's a fork in the road, right? For Draymond Green, that was when he got suspended in the NBA Finals. Because how many did he have in Game 7? He had like 30 and 15 or something like that, right? Let me see. I want to get this right. Game 7 in the finals. It was the 2016 NBA Finals, right? Green had not scored more than 25 a game. What the fuck is this? But there's times in a player's career where there's a fork in the road, and I genuinely think that if Draymond Green would have gotten an NBA Finals at that point, his shot wouldn't have wavered. In fact, I think it probably would have improved. And if his offense would have improved, then their need for certain things to make their team more complete wouldn't have been as bad. And right now, this series in particular against the Minnesota Timberwolves is calling for Draymond Green to be a lot more effective on offense. That means hitting wide open threes. That means getting in the lane and hitting layups, hitting floaters, hitting dump down passes. Draymond's career didn't go that way because they lost that finals, and it was in large part because he got himself out of a game. But he has an opportunity right now to really be like an MVP of the series because they're going to leave him open. I think they're going to tighten up on Buddy Hield. He's had some really good games. They're not going to try to let him continue to have good games. Podziemski has been struggling, but I think they're still going to be watchful of him. He has the ball in his hand a lot. Jimmy is Jimmy. Steph is Steph. So it's really going to be on Draymond to try to open the game up for everybody, because if he has good games, he's able to really mess up any defensive scheme that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to have on the Golden State Warriors. You say a lot of great things, Elijah. My fault. Hopefully the Raptors will actually act like they want to win so we can bash them this time next year. Brother, did you just mention the Toronto Raptors in May? In May. Y'all are like barely an October team. We not talking about y'all in May. We not talking about y'all in May. Like, nah, bro. You guys, y'all day is draft. Y'all day is draft and opening day, and that's it. That's the only days y'all got. Everything after that, forget about it. Y'all not there. Y'all not there, bro. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, how the hell are they going to get Anthony Edwards involved? I mean, I've said it before. I think the simplest thing that they could do, because they're going to double team him. If you notice, anytime Anthony Edwards is at the top of the key, they always send a soft double team. Someone's going to come off and try to help. So you're going to have to isolate him on a side. I think you're probably going to have to isolate him on the right side. He likes getting to his right hand. If he has a pullback, he can go towards the left and hopefully suck the defense in, kick out to the slot or something. But when you put him on the same side as someone with in the corner, I think it really clogs up the lanes for him. And so I think you're going to have to start isolating sides, try posting him up a little bit more. But that's going to be the key thing. And then for Julius Randle, if you have anyone other than Draymond Green, you have to take advantage of that matchup. So, you know, he's going to be big. You know, I think something we got to watch about him is his points and assists. Goddamn, 3 rebounds? 3 rebounds? Yo, we got to start having conversations about these bigs. We got to start having conversations about these bigs. 3 rebounds is crazy. 3 rebounds is absolutely criminal. What the hell? It's showing all of his defensive rebounds. That's criminal. That's criminal. There's absolutely no way. 3 rebounds is crazy. We gonna need some more rebounds out of him. What are we talking about? The T-Wolves or Yes, Elijah. Yes, Elijah. You are on Mars today. You are on Mars today, brother. But tough game one loss. I do expect the Timberwolves to bounce back. There's no way they're gonna give up both home games. That's tough for them. But let's talk about tonight's game. So we have the New York Knicks against the Boston Celtics tonight. Like I said, I think the New York Knicks, it would be really big to win this game in order to win the series. However, I do think there's a matter of pacing that you have to do still. And I think that the Boston Celtics are going to come out really strong. You know, oftentimes when you have a game shooting that badly, you're not going to come back shooting just as bad. I do expect them to take a lot of the same shots, though, because if you've watched them all year, they played like this all year long. This is not anything out of the ordinary for them. But the difference is if this game is close again, I do like our chances. So if this is another 5-point game, 2-3-point game with 3 minutes left in the game, I like our chances. I like our chances. They have two guys that could, close out games, but we have the ultimate one. We got the final boss. The final boss in closing out games. So they have to deal with Jalen Brunson. They have to deal with Jalen Brunson. I've never seen. He seems to have hit every massive shot. Because you'll see this a lot, right? You'll see this a lot, like when, down this stretch, let's say 4 shots the star player had to make. A lot of times they'll hit the first 3 or the first 2, miss one, and then hit the last one that doesn't count because of, the way the points work out. But that's he hits every single one, it feels like. It feels like he doesn't miss any of these big shots. So if the game is close, I like my New York Knicks. I'm sorry. I like my New York Knicks if the game is close. Now who am I going to go with? Fuck it. The Knicks are going up 2-0. Knicks are going up 2-0. Let's go. Knicks are going up 2-0. Let's go. Let's talk some good juju into the air, baby. Knicks are going up 2-0, baby. Knicks are going up 2-0. Now the Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 2 in Oklahoma. They're pretty good when it comes to they're pretty good at home. Their defense, I'm expecting to be super crazy tonight. They're probably going to be picking Jamal Murray up full court. By the way, too, I told y'all that Jokic and Shea they're about to start teeing off on each other. Jokic had the first one with the 40-20 game. I think Shea might fuck around and get 50 tonight. And I want him to be extremely aggressive, but I think it might actually hurt them tonight. I'm almost picturing him hunting too many shots down. And if they're up by a lot, maybe it won't matter. But if it's close, it might be one of those Shea has 50, Jokic has like 38, but they win the game. Like it might be one of those, like Shea got 48, Jokic got like 38, 36, triple double, and they win the game. I think I have this weird feeling that the Denver Nuggets are going to win this game, and I think this is the big part. This is the big part, right? I don't know what it is about Michael Porter Jr. There were 2 possessions in that game where he looked like he wasn't even there. And I don't know if he's too drugged up off pain medicine because of that left shoulder. Apparently it's really, really painful. A lot of people are questioning how he's even out there playing. But he looked extremely out of it. If he comes out and has a solid game, doesn't even need to have a good to great game, just a solid game, hit some threes, space the floor, because I think Michael Porter Jr., people think he's extremely massive for Jokic, and he is. But we've seen Jokic operate in tight spaces and triple teams, hit layups on the whole entire other team pretty much. Michael Porter Jr., his spacing, I think, really helps out Jamal Murray. Because Jamal Murray is undersized. He likes to operate in the mid-range. So if Michael Porter Jr. isn't hitting shots and his guy is able to sit in that lane a little bit, it really makes Jamal Murray's game a lot more difficult because he can't hit that gap the way a Russell Westbrook can. He's not that quick and not that athletic. He has to rely on having space, getting to a spot, rising up and hitting a shot. If that space isn't there, it's just a little bit tougher. So if Michael Porter has a good game, it in turn has, Jamal Murray in turn has a good game. Jokic doesn't have to go and get 42, even though I think he'll still get pretty close, like 35, 36, 38. So I have the Denver Nuggets tonight. I can't believe I'm saying that they're about to go up 2-0. But I have the Denver Nuggets. I have the Denver Nuggets. What did we say before, right? That a part of why the Denver Nuggets had to fire Mike Malone was because this Nuggets team, as up and down as they've been all year, they could fuck around and make it to the conference finals, and it would have made firing Mike Malone that much more difficult, at least in public perception. And so I think that's why they got ahead of it, because they have the ultimate guy in Jokic, where we're seeing videos. This guy is a player coach on the floor right now. So he is doing a little bit of everything. I have the Denver Nuggets tonight. I think Shea is going to do his thing. I think it might actually hurt his team a little bit in this sense. Guys are going to miss key shots in the fourth quarter. We got to watch how Jalen Williams, how J-Dub plays tonight, because he did not have a good game last game. But I have the Denver Nuggets tonight. That leads us to the Warriors Timberwolves game 2 tomorrow night. I don't expect Steph to play, actually. Let's see Steph Curry injury report. Oh, wow, at least a week. He's going to be reevaluated in a week. Game 5. Steph is out for a week. Listen, Elijah, you and Bruce are going to owe me an apology. You guys are going to owe me an apology when the New York Knicks beat the Boston Celtics. And I mean, you already owe me one because your Lakers already lost. And Anthony Edwards is about to do some disgusting things to the Golden State Warriors tonight. I wish, and this is just selfishly, it's not going to happen. I wish someone challenged, because I don't think you could tell Anthony Edwards to do it. I think you have to phrase it in the form of a challenge. But I wish someone would challenge Anthony Edwards and say, yo, let's see how many dunks you could get this game. Like, don't even worry about shooting threes. You can do that next game. But, like, let's just see how many times you could dunk on people this game. And see what happens. I wish somebody would challenge him to do that and just see what happens. But Steph is out a week. So, for tomorrow's game, I think they're going to make a little bit of an adjustment. Who started this game? It was Mike Conley still, right? It was Mike Conley. I might start Dante. Who started this game? Nah, I'm not gonna lie. That may work. Ant hella immature, but that's, you have to know your people, right? You have to know your personnel. We've talked about Andrew Nemhart, right? Who, after game one, first of all, I mean, I need some gas on that. I told y'all already. Andrew Nemhart. Something happens to this dude in the playoffs. Something happens to him. But you have to know your personnel in order to communicate with them better. So, you know, I think Anthony Edwards. I think somebody, when he was shooting too many threes, one of the assistants on the coaching staff said, "You being soft as fuck right now." Like, you have to know how to talk to your guys to motivate them and to push them, because, you know, something that everyone has to learn, right? One, telling someone what to do most of the time doesn't work. It's just the way the human brain, the human mind, the human brain is. Like, when you tell someone what to do, chances are they're not going to do it. And so you have to phrase it differently, you know, when you're around different people. And I think with Anthony Edwards, it has to be a challenge, right? You got to challenge him. So, yeah, no, he not doing nothing. But also, who is back there to stop? Man, nobody. Well, I guess Looney not going to do shit. If Looney keeps standing down there, he gonna end up with nuts on his face. He gonna end up with Anthony Edwards balls on his face. So he don't want that problem neither. He don't want that he don't want that problem either. But if I'm the Warriors, I mean, if I'm the Timberwolves, low key, I think I start Dante. I don't remember who started this game. Where the fuck do I? Yeah, their starting lineup was Conley, Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. I think this is gonna be one of those situations where Rudy can't play as much again. They're gonna take advantage of that, especially. Well, actually, with Steph out, they might be able to play him a little bit more. But yeah, I think you pull him quick for Naz Reid, and you start Dante and pull Mike Conley off the bench. I think that's what the Minnesota Timberwolves should do. Let's see if they do it. Because you gotta create more spacing for. You got to create more spacing for Anthony Edwards, and the way that you do that is to add some shooters and to add some guys who can score. So that's adding Naz Reid and adding Dante DiVincenzo to that lineup is what's gonna provide that. So I do expect those guys to play more. So I do expect it to get tied up. But with that being said, let me see if I got anything else on the docket to talk about today. No, that's gonna do it for me for today, man. I appreciate y'all as always for hanging out. Before I get out of here, please like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. Thank you so much, Elijah, for pulling up and hanging out with me as always. Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will see y'all back here on Friday. Y'all have a good one, man. Peace.